Today's date is April 12th, 2026. My name is Mia Cooper. I'm an 8th grade student at Bicultural Hebrew Academy of Connecticut. I will be interviewing my grandmother, whose name is Carrie Cooper, about her life and legacy. This interview is being recorded for the oral history collection for the Jewish Historical Society of Fairfield County's archives, as well as our family archives. Over the next 15 minutes or so, I will ask you questions that will help me learn more about you and your family's history, especially our Jewish history. If you can't answer a question, just say so and we can move on to the next one. Also, if you would rather not answer a question for any reason, just tell me that. I want this to be fun and for you to be comfortable at all times. Are you ready?
Ready.
Let's start with you telling me your full name.
Carrie Cooper.
Who are you named after, if you know?
My Hebrew name is Chaya Sarah, and I am named after my grandmother's grandmother,
Okay.
whom I didn't know. I knew my grandmother, but not my grandmother's grandmother. Okay.
In this class, I have been learning about the immigration of Jews to the US and other places. Do you know where your parents or our family immigrated from?
My grandmother immigrated from Poland with her family, and her husband, they weren't married at the time, but immigrated with his family from Russia, from the Ukraine. My parents were born in New York.
Before they immigrated to the US, did they ever talk about what life was like before they left? And do you have any stories about Jewish life there?
Um, they didn't talk in detail. When they did talk, a lot of times it was about issues and problems and why they wanted to leave. Specifically, Papa Zaidi's family was from the Ukraine, and it was very difficult living there, and there was a lot of persecution, and I believe it was around World War One, and it was difficult because the men were being called up or taken to go into the army. But I know that he lived through pogroms with a lot of Russian Cossacks that were um, attacking the villages, and so it was a matter of really life and death that they needed to they needed to leave. Um, I believe with Grandbubba's family, there was a question whether or not I think her father's brothers went to Israel, but her mother was afraid. She didn't want to go to Israel because it wasn't developed yet, and she was scared. Um, and they came to America. So in both cases, in both cases, the the husbands came first, and the wives and children came later. Some of them many years later, some a little sooner, but the men always came first.
And answers the next couple of questions.
Okay.
So, um, where did they enter the country?
I believe both were Ellis Island. Right.
And where did they first settle, if you know? And what was it like there?
Grandbubba's they were they were all in New York. They were all like Lower East Side, or upper, um, like in the upper West Side. Um, so it was New York, but different parts of the island, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. This is great background.
There you go.
Now, I will ask you to take out the item that you brought to
Okay.
talk about today.
So the item that I have is a very, very old book. You can see how brown the papers are. Um, and it's been taped together a lot. Um, this was Grandbubba's mother's book. It's called a Tsena Rena. I don't know what it means in Yiddish, but it's basically It's all the parshiot, every weekly parshiot, and there's not just facts, but there are also stories with it. And the story, the family lore is that Grandbaba's mother always read the parsha every week. Um, and when when her Grandbaba's father had passed away, he was pretty young, and it was pretty soon after they had come here. But when Grandbaba got married, um, she and Papa Zaidi had Grandbaba's mother live with them, and Grandbaba's mother's eyes were not so great. So Grandbaba used to read to her mother every Shabbos from her mother's Tzanorena, the Parsha. And what I remember is that when we would visit Grandbaba and Papa Zaidi, and it would be Shabbos and whatever. And Grandbaba, her mom was no longer alive, but Grandbaba every Shabbos read from the same Tzanorena, the Parsha. So that's my memory of a normal Shabbos. Was Grandbaba sitting at the kitchen table with her mother's book, reading the book that she had read for so many years, every parsha. It was like she had to have known it by heart already. And it's also written in Yiddish. It's not written in Hebrew, which is not an easy thing to read. A lot of olives and ayins going on. But anyway, so um, I was able to take the book, and it needs to be redone, but quite honestly I'm afraid that the pages will just crumble. So it's pretty complete, but gone through an awful lot. um, so that's what I have from Grandbaba, which is from her mother, right?
You know how old it is?
Well, do I know how old it is? It's got to be, if not the early 1900s, maybe the late 1890s, maybe. I don't know when she got it. They may have gotten it when they came here. Um, Grandbaba was between 6 and 12, so I don't remember. They probably brought it with them. I don't know, but we could guesstimate. If they got it here, then it was the early 1900s. If they brought it with them, who knows? Who
That's really
knows?
cool.
Yeah, it really is. It really
Uh,
is.
Now I would like to ask you a few questions about your life growing up.
Okay.
Where did you grow up and who lived with you growing up?
I grew up in Riverdale. Um, and it was Saba and Bobby. It was my parents, and my sister and my brother, and several pets.
Um, what's something you can tell me about your school life, like your favorite teacher or favorite subject? My favorite subject is English.
I think I knew that. um, School life was nice. I mean, we went to SAR, and it was very small back then. Um, and so it was one class per grade, and there were maybe, you know, 6 boys, 6 girls. And what was nice about it was that every year, you when you went back for the next year, you were with the same kids. And so it was comfortable because you had the same friends over and over, and saw the same kids. And it was good. It was really good. Um, yeah.
What did you and your childhood friends do for fun?
What did we do for fun? We played sports. We Music was big. Sports was big. Um, I played the piano. That was big. Um, we really just got together in each other's, houses or apartments when we could. Shabbos was a little hard because depending on where people lived, there was not an Eruv growing up, so it was an issue of not just walking but not carrying anything with you. So Shabbos was mostly for us. Mostly it was with siblings, with Doda and with Uncle Marky, and we just played backgammon and Scrabble and all the normal stuff. Went to shul and came back, and that was it. Shabbos was, if you didn't have a play date, Shabbos was for resting, basically.
So did you go to shul and what was that?
Always, yes. Shul was always and always early. We're having a visitor. What do you want to do with this? Pace is here. Um, Shabbos start. It was every Saturday morning was going to shul, and we never missed shul, and we were always early. Um, and it was a quick davening. There was a little bit of singing, but it was mostly davening, um, and no speeches because you went to shul to daven, and then that was it. That was it.
Did you have a bat mitzvah?
No, back then, um, the boys had the bar mitzvahs, and only a handful of girls had like a party, with a big dress and speeches and stuff like that. Um, it just wasn't, and it was okay. I mean, I didn't miss not having one. I had a birthday party because I was 12, but it wasn't necessarily, spelled out as, oh, this is your bar mitzvah, bas mitzvah, and blah, 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 blah. I knew then I was bat mitzvah, but it was not a big, you know, to do like a bar mitzvah was. And that was okay. It was really fun. I didn't have to get up and give a speech, so I didn't mind at all. I did, however, write my brother's bar mitzvah speech. We'll just go on, yeah, with that. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Now I would like you to pick your favorite Jewish holiday and describe how you and your family celebrated it when you were a child.
So that would probably be Pesach, because also my birthday is Pesach. So that's a number one reason. But we always had Grandpa and Papa Zadie came for Pesach, and um, it was just always really nice to have them with us. And Papa Zadie would always help when we would be baking the cakes. You have to beat the egg whites separately, and so there were no. You're not going to use a mixer kind of thing because there were no mixers for them, and so there was a beater, and he would beat, 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 and he was helpful in making the cakes. And that's what I remember. I remember him sitting at the table, whipping up the egg whites. That was fun. That was special. Yeah, yeah.
Now I would like to talk about our family Jewish traditions.
Okay.
My favorite Jewish traditions is always dancing on some Haftorah.
Hmm.
What are yours?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, I don't know. I guess it's just being together and preparing, you know, the meals and sitting and getting everything ready and tables and moving chairs and hot, putting stuff behind the couch because you don't have any more room to put stuff and just everybody being together. And that was just really nice. 2 minutes.
Does anyone in your family serve in the military?
Saba, my father was in the military during the Korean War, but his I forgot what it's called, not his group, whatever, were some were sent. He was not present when they were sent. He had hurt his foot. He wasn't sent, which was a bracha because apparently his whole troop, I think, were attacked during the war, and he was not there. So that was good. That was thank God. Yeah, yeah.
How did you meet my grandfather?
I met your grandfather at a YU Central blind date party. I was in 11th grade and he was in 12th grade. And they
Oh,
had them every year. and the girls and the guys got together and they talked about their friends and they matched people up. And once a year they had this, and usually it was a play. You went to a play, and then you just went out, to like a shul type of social hall thing to just talk and whatever. And that's where I met Gabi.
Um, what did you do as a job in your adult life?
I worked with first I worked with students in college, um, just an advisement type stuff. And then I took a break. And then when I went back to work, I did substitute teaching in elementary school. It's okay. He's okay, Gabriel. He's fine.
What invention do you think had the biggest impact on your life, and why did you choose
Invention?
Yeah.
What invention? Well, it would be this Zoom because look, you have Pace who's joining us. So it's got to be the telephone, the well, not the old-fashioned telephone, but even that. But yeah,
And now we're going to wrap up with one more question.
good because Pace is ready.
What advice do you have for future generations like me?
Future generations like you, hold on to your history. Hold on to your traditions. Make new traditions. Accept the old ones, make new ones, and just follow follow the path of Yahadut and know that you're doing the right thing. It's not easy. It's not always easy, but it's a good feeling when you know, and when you're with other people, and whether it's at a Yom Ha'atzmaut thing or whatever it is that you're with a group of incredible people and you just continue your tradition. Right? Right. Pace is right.
Well, thank you for doing this interview with me.
Thank you, Mia.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.